guys, welcome back to Two Sisters Homestead. So I'm Josie. If you are new here, thank you so much for being here, and I hope you subscribe to the channel and you like what you see. So today I'm out here in the garden. As you can see, I have my loofahs behind me, which are growing phenomenal. They're doing so great. And even if I never get nothing off of these, which I will because there are some up underneath there, but they are so amazing. They look so good, and it's just a beauty to have in your garden. Like, they're so green and so lush, and this is probably only 4 or 5 plants of loofah. It's amazing. But I decided to come out here in the garden and talk to you guys about the garden, of course. So with the garden, this idea came to my mind because, like, me trying to teach my sister how to garden and my mom, I haven't really had much time with my mom. However, my sister I have, but it doesn't come as easy to them as it does me. But I've been doing it for a little bit longer, and I've, of course, been researching it for a little bit longer. This is to throw no shade at anybody whatsoever. It's just a learning curve. And I wanted to talk to you guys about that. So before you think about gardening, you need to think in your mind, for one, do I have time? Time. The garden takes time, you guys. I'm not even spending as much time as I need to in the garden. And I'm still having a little bit of good results. I'm still getting some food from it and stuff like that. However, if I could be in here a lot more, it would be a lot better. But time, you have to have time to come out here, you guys. It's not, something that you just throw out in the garden and you forget about stuff and stuff like that. Most of the stuff you have to be hands on with it, which takes time. Another thing is it's not, like I just said, it's not just as simple as having plants, like either like buying them from the store. Let's say we buy them from Lowe's and put them in the soil and water them every now and then they just be fine. Like, that's not the case whatsoever, because with these garden beds, let's say for instance, you have to weed your garden beds. If not, those weeds can choke out your plants. And you have pest problems, you guys. Pests are a major deal. I've had so many hornworms eat my tomatoes this year that I finally just pulled them all up and said, I'm done with it, not doing any more, because the hornworms have gotten so bad. Um, but there are ways you can help prevent those pests, or, get rid of them. Like with the hornworms, you can get a black light at night and get it out and get them off and give them to your chickens or kill them or whatever you decide to do with them. Whenever you think about having a garden, you also might want to think about money. Okay. So gardening is not cheap whatsoever. So if somebody tells you, oh, you need to grow your own food, it's so much cheaper and blah, 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 blah. No, that's not the case, you guys. Eventually, it will be fine. Eventually, it will either could potentially make you money if you're growing enough where you can sell it, or it'll all level out from the harvest you're getting to, like how much money you have put in initially. But initially, I have all these beds. Half of them I bought, and two of them back in the back, the wood ones, we've built. But still, wood costs. These beds cost. I have 8 of these metal beds, and they cost $160 a piece. So that's not cheap. You're gonna need some type of trellising system. That's having to do cattle panel or whatever it may be, T-post or string or PVC pipe. Whatever you decide to choose, it's going to cost you guys. The dirt to fill the beds is expensive, and I've had such a hard time finding the right dirt for my garden bed. But I think I might have found somebody that is good. So we're going to try them later on in the fall, but all that costs money. All of it costs money. However, the benefit for me and the reason why I grow is because I know what's on my fruits and vegetables. I know if I put anything on them or not, which I have not had to yet, besides organic things and stuff like that. So it's worth it to me, and it's a hobby for me. It's fun for me. I like it. It's like my mental health, thing that I do to escape. I love being out here in the garden. Um, Another thing you might want to think about is, how are you going to get seeds? Those cost too. They're very affordable. However, depending on how many things you get and things like that will depend on how cheap you can get them. And also with those seeds, you need the time for the seeds to be able to grow them in your house for a little bit under a light or in your greenhouse or whatever you may have, because you have to get those seeds started first before you put them down in the ground. So if you go out to the store and get a plant from the store, you're gonna pay anywhere between $5 to $7 for a plant, which is okay. However, you might need bunches of this stuff or whatever. But when you grow it, like start it from seed, it's not. It's easy, you guys. It's so easy, but it's just time. It's time consuming. Um, and sometimes some of your stuff might not pop up, and other times it might. Also, you have to find the right soil for your beds. You can get compost as well. However, that compost, you might want to research your compost and research who you got it from, because it might be too hot, meaning it could burn your plants depending on how long it's been sitting and things like that. Um, and if it burns your plants, you lose your harvest. Okay, so that's not good. And if it's not very good dirt, your plants probably aren't going to do that well. I've been noticing that with some of my dirt, it's not the greatest. However, I do have it, and over time, I'm going to be able to build it to be better and to have more living organisms in it and all the stuff that it needs. However, it's just going to take time. And with that time, it takes money. So I can put compost on top of these in the fall, and different better soil on it, and amendments in it and stuff to help my garden soil become better and better for my plants, so my harvest can be that much better, you guys. So another thing you need to think about is the layout of your garden. So I have garden beds. I have raised garden beds. And in between these beds, I have just a regular old grass. You need to decide if you want to come out here and weed eat this all the time, which I don't. That's why a lot of times the weeds are coming up, because I have to weed eat this like so often. Um, and then if you're going to do, like, let's say some rock or mulch or something like that in between the garden beds, which is amazing, and I plan on doing that eventually. However, somehow you got to figure out what to do with your weeds that pop through, because sometimes that fabric cloth is not always going to keep the weeds away. So you need to figure out what you're going to do about that and the time it's going to take to weed eat this garden. And that's the struggle I have, is weed eating. However, I've came to the point where, would I rather weed eat or be able to be in my garden with how much time I have, since I do work a full-time job? And so far, weed eating is on the back of my list. But I do make sure that I'm careful out here and stuff for snakes and all that other stuff. Um, but also, you need to figure out what you want to do if you have chickens. So if you have chickens, then a lot of times those chickens may venture out into your garden, which is what we're having a problem with right now. So I lost 3 of my pumpkins and some of my squash because the chickens have gotten into my garden, you guys. And I was so upset. However, I'm going to figure out some way, just a fast way for me to be able to keep them out of at least my pumpkins and watermelon, because I really want to have those. So I'm going to do something temporarily, but then later on, I'm going to do um, like maybe electric fence around it for poultry, so they can't get in it whatsoever, and it will border my whole entire garden, so I don't have to deal with them at all being in it. Because soon I'm going to be having my winter stuff out here, my broccoli and cauliflower, hopefully, if all goes well. So that's another thing to think about, is that's more money you're going to have to spend on a fencing, because you know animals might get into it. And luckily we haven't had no problems with any animals, except for recently we've had trouble with the chickens, and it just started. But one good thing is, after all of that, after all of those things, if you still decide that you want to grow and you want to have a garden, then do it, because it is one of the best things I have done. It helps my mind so much. Being able to come out here makes me happy. I really enjoy this. And I just tell my husband all the time, like, yeah, it costs money and stuff like that, but I like doing this. Like, this is my only hobby I have. I don't go out and do anything else. Like, I love it. I love it out here, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. And I'm so happy to be able to learn so much And every time I come out here, I either learn something new or find out something um, that works or doesn't work. Like if I experimented with something or something like that. And it's just so amazing and so cool, all of the things that you can learn, and then all of the different things you can grow. You can grow so much stuff that's not in the grocery store that people don't even know about, because you're doing it yourself. Because not all these stores have all of these heirlooms and things like that that you can grow for your family. And some of it is just cool to grow. You might not eat it, but it's really cool to grow and show your kids, like, hey, these are the varieties we have, and the stores might not have them, but we can grow them. So as long as you know how to grow your own food, then that's amazing. Not only that, but this society is getting bad. It's only getting worse with time. So being able to grow your own food is an amazing thing to do, because of the simple fact that you never know what can happen. And if I know how to grow these vegetables and fruits that I'm trying to grow, then at least I know I will have something on my table for me and my family, which is a big bonus to me. And I love it. And I just wouldn't trade it for anything, you guys. I really wouldn't. And after I get done with this garden here and I move across the street, I'm going to have a nice garden over there as well. So I'm not planning on anytime soon quitting. I love it. But it's not just as simple as putting your plants in the ground, watering them, and then harvesting from them. It takes more time. It takes a little bit of a skill. You have to learn a little bit about each thing that you are growing, so you know the different things that might be happening with it, the things that might be going on with it, and what's wrong with it if it looks a certain way. So it's a lot of skill to it, and it's a lot. It's not just planting stuff. You can even ask my mom. She even said this year, I don't know if I want to continue to do this, because a lot more than what I thought. And it is, you guys. It really is. But if you can stick to it and try to learn and try to research the things that you want to know, you need to know for your garden, just the basic stuff, or even just look on YouTube at different people on what they're doing, what their trial and errors are, and things like that, then you can succeed, you guys. That's why I like having this channel, is because I like to show you things that I'm doing. Maybe it's not always right. I'm no expert whatsoever. However, you can learn from me, and I can show you that, like, yeah, I'm trying these stuff, but oh, yep, that's why that person didn't do it that way, because of this is what happens. And me being able to show you and y'all grow with me and learn with me is amazing, because not everybody just automatically, knows, and it's not always good just to assume, like, oh, that person said that doesn't work, so let's not try it. I had a master gardener tell me certain things about my garden, and I'm like, okay. And I put it in the back of my mind, still understanding the information, still knowing the information. However, I still did it my way, because I wanted to do it my way, and what I want to learn and I want to do better. But I wanted to do it the way I wanted to first and see how that goes. But the way I was doing some stuff that she told me to do differently, I had no problem whatsoever. So with every gardener, it's different. So you should always try something. If you're thinking, maybe I should, you should, because of the simple fact that it's different. I can be growing something, the lady down the street can be growing something, and two totally different things can happen. So it's really fun just to see the difference and seeing what you can do and things like that. Um, but it is a learning process, but it's an amazing learning process, and you can learn so much and fill your knowledge with so much, which is amazing. And I love it. Um, so if you're thinking about gardening, just think about those few things before you just go all in. And make sure you are really ready to do this, because you don't want to be sitting there feeling discouraged, like, oh, you know, I didn't do it right. I just let my plants sit there and water them, but what did I do wrong? Because it's a lot more skill to it, you guys. But you can do it. You can do it. Trust me, you can do it. And don't get discouraged. Just make sure that you try your best. And if something goes wrong, try to figure out what it was that went wrong and learn from it. That's all you can do, is learn, and it's trial and error. And eventually you'll get it. But I just wanted to come to you tonight to talk to you guys about that. But I hope you liked this video, you guys, and I hope you subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you next time.